I hope you're doing really well. If this video found you, I believe it found you for a reason, and there are no hashtags on this video. So if you're watching this, try and stay to the end and tell me what you think in the comments. So the message here is that not all addictions are unhealthy. Now, what I mean by that is, say for instance, you are a person that was a smoker. Okay, you can class that as an addiction. It's something that you feel a compulsion to do regularly on a daily basis. Okay, now imagine a person as a smoker decides to quit smoking and instead they take up running. You could say that they are now addicted to the buzz they get from running. So they basically changed one thing to another. They've changed something that maybe was unhealthy into something that is healthy. But when does it become unhealthy? Because then you can get into the realms of somebody maybe going into not eating properly or over exercising. You know, there's all kinds of intricate things about it. So I hope you're on the same wavelength as me and are understanding what I'm saying. So as a human going through the human experience, you are going to have addictions to things and you are going to have attachments to things. Now, sometimes when you're talking to people, you see people saying about self-development, spiritual development, awakening, that kind of thing, that you're stripping away all addictions, you're stripping away all attachments. And unfortunately, that isn't realistic. We won't be doing that. You can't possibly do that because there is something in your life that is some form of addiction or attachment. And without them, how are you living the experience of a human? How are you doing that if you don't have any of those experiences? So that's what we're getting into today. And we're going to find out. I want you to look at what addictions do you feel you have in your life right now? And ask yourself, okay, is this that I'm compulsive about, that I'm addicted to, that I, really just want to do all the time? Is it healthy for you or is it not? So another example I'll give you on that one is, say, like for instance, a new mom or even a new dad, for instance. At the end of the day, they want to just have a beer or a glass of wine or something like that. It's like their reward for getting through the day and their child is still breathing. Now, is that unhealthy? Is it bad? If you're just having one beer or one glass of wine or something. So basically what I'm saying to you is that there are addictions that you can have or that you could class as addiction, and substances that you can class as addictive. But if you're keeping them in check and you've got a limit to it, you're allowing yourself only a certain amount of that, maybe that's not such a bad addiction. Maybe that's actually, it's helping you through a moment in your life. Now, it's healthy for us as humans to keep changing things. So it's like I said before, somebody who's quit smoking suddenly starts running. It's actually not a bad thing. And then when they get to a point in that where it becomes, okay, I'm losing control over this now, or I'm being too compulsive with this, I'm not in check with it, then a change needs to occur. So there's this element of acceptance here in you can make those changes. You can make those changes without flogging yourself or feeling like, you have to strip away everything to be a spiritual person. You don't. Okay, let's see. So what is in your life at the moment that we can class as something that maybe you are compulsive towards or have an addiction towards? We're going to look into that. So we've got flow here, recovery, moving on and finding peace. So for some of you, maybe an unhealthy addiction here is entering into relationships or partnerships or friendship groups that perhaps you feel like you're not doing other things that you should be doing to spend time in this. Or you feel that you are constantly abandoned in these kind of scenarios, or you feel like you are being, like constantly moving on from one thing to the next. So maybe you can't quickly get into something and then you quickly get out of it again, or you don't see anything as like a long term, is what I'm feeling from this. And you're saying to yourself that helps you to be peaceful, that makes you find peace. So basically not going out in groups or with people because you like your own space, that kind of thing. Now, you can get addicted to that kind of environment where it's just you, and that can be healthy. It can be healthy if it's in check, but you also need to be around people as well. So I feel like that's who I'm talking to mostly around this. Now this, shall we say, addiction or whatever you want to call it, it's actually to do with a lack of communication. And I feel like this is sometimes a lack of communication to understanding your own truth. So it's how you are talking to yourself. And sometimes I feel like you may gaslight yourself a little bit, where you may be convincing yourself of why you're doing something, or, you know, why you need to move on from this person, why you need to move on from this situation, why you need to move on from that job, anything like that. That's the kind of person I'm talking to. I feel like you may have only really ever stayed in a job for like a maximum of like 3 years or something before you move on to another job. You never see anything as long term, and struggle to kind of feel something as being commitment. So answers is your rune for that. This is about you maybe not speaking your truth to yourself. Now, I do feel that you have been through a few transformations already, at least 3 in this particular area, because you recognise this yourself. You have recognised this yourself, and it has become kind of an addiction to, like, you like change, or you're constantly ready for change. It's a bit like a dopamine hit. It gives you a little bit of a hit. Now, this has actually caused you some grief in yourself, some like upset in yourself, because actually there is a part of you that really does crave that consistency and that commitment, but this other part of you is addicted to moving on, is addicted to change, is addicted to things moving. And Lagos is an energy of flow, it's an energy of movement, it's water, and it's water is constantly moving and flowing and changing, and I feel like that's kind of the energy that you are in. I feel you're very free-spirited. You don't like to be tied down. You don't like to be told this is who you are or this is what you're going to be doing. I don't feel that you really like that at all. So let's get into the cards and see what they are telling us. So what advice can we give you at this time? Ooh, okay. So even though it's desirable and you get some kind of hit from this, I feel like you get some kind of dopamine hit. It makes you feel good in some ways, or it kind of brings you an element of contentment. But there's a change coming to this and a transformation. It's interesting because you had Uruz as well as your rune, which is also a rune of transformation, and death is representing that as well. Because you need to transform this, you need to change this, because you've recognised that actually it brings a lack of responsibility to your life. It brings a lack of knowing what role you play in your life. And I feel like that is now become a little bit difficult for you or uncomfortable for you, because you've got so used to this kind of way of being that it is addicting. You are addicted to it. But this is where you have to discern, is this a healthy addiction for me, or is it an unhealthy addiction? You know, are you still happy with it, or are you just going along with this because it's kind of comfortable, or you have this attachment to it? Yeah. So you have to discern, is that good for me? Is that healthy for me, or is it not? Because it's almost like you've definitely been having a human experience, and you've gone through a lot of different transformations. You've had a lot of experiences that have made you stronger. They've made you the person that you are, and you always get back up, however far you've gone. But I feel like something's happened recently that's kind of stumped you and made you think, do I still want this or not? I'm actually going to take this to a part 2, and it's going to be subscriber only. I'll show you what this card is in there, okay? So join me over on my subscribers. We're also going to be doing a little cord cutting ritual at the weekend as well. So if you subscribe, you can join in on that. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in a bit.